The night everything changed didn't start with fireworks. It started with humiliation dressed in a tuxedo. My cousin Ethan had spent 3 years turning me into a walking cautionary tale, a family reminder of what failure looked like. He'd whisper little digs at dinner, smirk when anyone brought up my startup, and always find new ways to make sure I remembered my place beneath his polished shoes. But that night, at his company's grand gala, he made one mistake. He underestimated me, and that single act would end up costing him more than he could ever afford. If you've ever been underestimated by someone who thought they were better than you, this story is going to hit differently. Stick with me until the end, because this revenge isn't just satisfying. It's poetic. My name is Jenna, and I want you to understand something from the very beginning. Failure doesn't taste like ashes. It tastes like metal, sharp, cold, bitter. It lingers in your mouth long after the world has moved on. For 3 long years, that taste never left me. I had built something beautiful, a dream I called Flow State. It was an AI-driven organizational app, smart enough to anticipate what you needed before you even knew it yourself. Clean interface, intuitive coding, efficiency at its purest form. It should have changed everything. Investors should have been fighting for it. But should have doesn't pay rent or buy server time. 6 months before launch, the money ran out. The dream died quietly. No headlines, no applause, just silence. After that, I took the kind of job that pays the bills, but eats your soul. Data analyst at Morrison & Clark, a gray windowless corporate giant where creativity went to die under fluorescent lights. Every morning, I'd slip into my neat blouse and pencil skirt, feeling like I was sealing myself into a body bag, alive in function, dead in purpose. And Ethan? He made sure I never forgot how far I'd fallen. Ethan was the family's golden boy, managing director at Westfield Capital, the kind of man who spoke in buzzwords and wore confidence like a designer suit. His watch probably cost more than my car. My aunts adored him, my uncles admired him, and my parents. They compared. To everyone else, Ethan was brilliance. To me, he was arrogance in human form, but men like him don't just need to win. They need to see you lose, to witness it, to taste it, to make sure everyone else sees it too. Which is exactly why, 3 weeks before the gala, he smirked at me across my aunt's kitchen table and said, "Jenna, you're coming to the company gala." I'd tried to refuse. That's not really my scene. My voice had wavered, my gut already twisting. "Nonsense," he'd said smoothly, like he was doing me a favor. "It'll be good for you. See what real success looks like. Besides, I told the partners I support creative types. Makes me look balanced." He'd smiled as if that settled it, but his eyes were ice. So 3 Fridays later, there I was, standing in the glittering lobby of the Grandeur Ballroom in a velvet burgundy dress I'd bought on credit, and instantly regretted. The air shimmered with wealth. Crystal chandeliers spilled light over polished marble floors, while ice sculptures shaped like bulls and bears gleamed beneath gold accents. The scent of expensive champagne and ego hung heavy. I didn't belong there, and Ethan made sure I felt it the second he spotted me. "Jenna, there you are," he said too brightly, grabbing my elbow and dragging me toward a circle of men in tuxedos. "Gentlemen, this is my cousin Jenna. Remember the one who tried to launch that little app?" He laughed lightly, as if he were sharing an inside joke. "Didn't quite make it, but she's doing Data now." The men's smiles were polite but empty. One of them, Hawthorne, silver-haired, face like polished granite, gave me that tight, pitying grin people use when they're already looking past you. "Brutal market, sweetie. Good thing you found something stable. Analytics is safe. Stick with that." His tone made me feel like a child who'd tried to fly and broken her wings. I smiled, the kind of smile you practice in mirrors after every failure. I'd learned that pretending not to bleed was its own survival skill. And the night went on like that. 6 introductions, 6 polite humiliations. Each time, Ethan's voice sang with that same rehearsed cheerfulness that barely hid the blade beneath it. By the time dinner was called, my confidence had been carved into silence. My table, table 14, sat near the kitchen doors, so far from the main stage I could barely see the spotlight. Ethan, of course, sat front and center with his wife and the firm's elite, basking in attention. My table mates were a nervous intern named Bethany and a junior analyst glued to his phone. It wasn't an accident. It was a message. The room glimmered with money, violin music, polite laughter, and the soft chime of champagne glasses. But all I could hear was the echo of my own humiliation. Every word Ethan had said replayed in my head until the noise became a dull hum. When the speeches began, I stared at my plate, praying I could disappear before he found another way to twist the knife. Ethan walked onto the stage like he owned gravity. The applause rolled through the room. He looked untouchable, confident, polished, adored. His speech began as expected: numbers, growth, strategy. The kind of performance meant to impress shareholders, but I felt the shift before it came. His tone sharpened, cruel beneath the charm. "You know," he said, adjusting his tie, "we live in a world full of dreamers. People who think passion is enough, who believe a good idea automatically means success." He smiled, and his eyes, those same cold eyes, found mine across the room. But here at Westfield we know better. Innovation isn't creativity, it's execution. Value isn't potential, it's profit. So, to anyone out there who spent years building an app that went nowhere, he paused just long enough for everyone to feel it. Stop wasting everyone's time. True success isn't a dream. It's a signed check. Laughter filled the ballroom, rich and cruel. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. My hands trembled under the table as my throat burned with tears I refused to let fall. I whispered silently, "Just get through it, Jenna." Then, as the applause roared again, I looked up. And that's when I saw her. Dr. Vivian Cole. Sitting at the head table, 3 seats from the CEO, silver hair gleaming under the lights, black suit cut with precision, every inch of her radiating power. CEO of Fusion Tech. The woman who'd built an empire from nothing, rejected billion-dollar offers, and became the industry's most feared visionary. While everyone else laughed at Ethan's cruelty, she didn't. She was looking straight at me, not with pity, not with confusion, but with recognition, the kind that says, "I see you." The applause faded. The air thickened, and for one breathless moment, her sharp gray eyes locked on mine like she'd just found something worth her time. Dr. Vivian Cole was a legend. And she was looking at me like she just found something interesting. Then she pulled out her phone. I watched her type something, her fingers moving quickly across the screen. She looked at it, scrolled, looked back at me. Her expression shifted just slightly from curiosity to something sharper, more focused. When the cocktail hour resumed and people started moving again, I knew I had to leave. I stood up carefully, adjusting my dress, planning my escape route. I'd slip past the crowds, grab my coat, and disappear before anyone noticed. I made it maybe 10, fed Ethan. The voice cut through the ambient noise like a blade. Clear, cold, authoritative. The crowd near the stage parted. Dr. Cole was standing there, all 5-6 of her somehow commanding the entire space. Ethan's face transformed. The smug confidence replaced instantly with something close to panic. Dr. Cole. Of course. What an honor. He practically shoved his colleagues aside, hand outstretched. She ignored it completely. I walked right past him, straight toward me. My heart stopped. The background noise of the gala faded to white static. She stopped about 3 feet away, and I could see her eyes up close, sharp, intelligent, completely focused. "Jenna," she said, not a question. "A statement?" "Yes, ma'am," I managed. "I've been doing some research during that speech." Her voice was measured, but there was steel underneath. I looked up Flow State, the app that supposedly went nowhere. The crowd had gone completely silent. I could feel Ethan somewhere behind me listening. "It failed," I said quietly. "It ran out of funding before launch." "It failed," Dr. Cole corrected, her voice rising just slightly, "to secure investment from people who couldn't recognize innovation if it knocked on their door with a business plan. But your user protocol, the way you integrated predictive AI into organizational workflow, was genuinely revolutionary." My breath caught. "We've been trying to solve that exact problem at Fusion Tech for 8 months, she continued. "Your code was the cleanest implementation I've seen in 5 years, probably longer." She turned finally to look at Ethan. His face had gone from confusion to something like horror. "I'm not here for the champagne, Ethan. I'm here because I'm always looking for every best talent." Then she turned back to me. "Jenna, I'm offering you the position of Chief Innovation Architect at Fusion Tech, effective Monday morning." The world tilted. I heard someone gasp. Maybe me. Dr. Cole wasn't finished. "The budget for your department will be $1 million for the first quarter. Your starting compensation package will be more than double what your cousin currently earns as managing director." She said it loud enough for everyone to hear. The CEO, the board members, Ethan's boss, everyone. The silence was absolute. I looked at Ethan. His face had gone white, then red, then purple. His mouth opened and closed like a fish drowning in air. "But Dr. Cole, she's just an analyst now. She's buried in debt from that failed app." His voice cracked on the last word. Dr. Cole turned on him with surgical precision. "Ethan, your biggest weakness is that you only see what people have been, not what they're capable of becoming. You saw a debtor. I see a visionary who learned from failure. Your firm values quarterly earnings. My firm values genius." She handed me a business card. Heavy cardstock. Simple black lettering. "Don't worry about paperwork tonight, Jenna. You've earned a celebration. I'll expect you Monday at 9 well." She walked away just like that, leaving a crater of stunned silence behind her. My mother appeared from somewhere, her face pale. "Jenna, did you just—" "Yes, Mom," I heard myself say. Turns out my app that went nowhere was worth $1 million all along. I looked at Ethan one more time. He was standing there frozen, his perfect mask completely shattered. For 3 years, he'd made me feel worthless. For 3 years, he'd used my failure to elevate himself. And in 3 minutes, the most powerful woman in tech had publicly declared that I was worth more than him. I didn't say anything else. I walked out of that ballroom with my head up, leaving my coat behind. I didn't need it. I was radiating warmth. That was 6 months ago. I've been at Fusion Tech ever since. And I'll be honest, it's the hardest I've ever worked in my life. But this time I'm working for someone who sees the value in what I do. My department launched our first product last month. Early projections say it'll generate $15 million in revenue by year's end. Ethan, he's still at Westfield, still a managing director, but I heard from my aunt that he's been passed over for promotion twice now. Apparently after that gala, people started asking questions about his judgment. I don't take pleasure in his struggles, but I won't pretend I don't remember how it felt to be humiliated in front of hundreds of people. To have my biggest wound turned into a punchline for his ego. Dr. Cole didn't save me out of pity. She saw something valuable that everyone else had dismissed, including me, and she was willing to bet $1 million on it. Sometimes revenge isn't about destroying someone. It's about proving them wrong so completely that they have to live with the knowledge that they threw away something priceless. So that's my story. Never let anyone make you believe that failure defines you. Sometimes it's just the prologue to your greatest success. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about justice, revenge, and people getting exactly what they deserve. Drop a comment and tell me, have you ever been underestimated? Let's talk about it.